go to college, and pursue a degree he didn't know. But he liked making music. But he was told that going to college will be the only way he can make a lot of money after high school. Even though he saw people who didn't go to high school who made way more money than people who went to high school. He didn't know if he was supposed to follow what people say or follow what he wants to do in his heart. So how do you guys think his story ended? Keep this story in the back of your mind through this whole seminar. This seminar is meant to broaden our views about universities, trade schools, and how we can instead set ourselves up for a better future. Or at least a future that can give us the freedom to follow our passions and dreams. To introduce myself, my name is Fabian Kaluta, and I used to be the drummer, but I am now focusing on my goals, and I wanted to teach you guys a little bit I've learned thus far after graduating high school. I asked for high school in particular, students in particular, because I know most of you guys don't really know what you're heading into after high school, and I wanted to show you guys, or just broaden your view about what you can do after. So the first advice would be to create a plan. What do you want to do when you get out of high school? Ask yourself this. Next slide. Those are our dreams right there. Next slide. Okay, so you should pull out a sheet of paper and write everything you want to accomplish. Then start with another list of things that you're good at and what you're not good at. I know that in high school they give you tests to see what your interests are and what jobs go with your interests. So use those tests seriously and actually and take them seriously. I remember about mine, they were all over the place: carpentry, music, architecture. But then also there was these other jobs like finance, accounting, programming. But I didn't really know what to do with all this information. But later on, I thought, what if I just find a job that fuses all my interests together? And after researching a little bit, I found that there is a degree for business and computers, and that is the degree I am focusing on right now. So if you don't know what you want to do in college, use tests to figure out a certain career that you are likely to be good in. And if it doesn't really point you to something, see if they can come together and see if that career exists. So for those who just started high school, you should pick a pathway. Next slide. Yeah, you should pick a pathway. You should pick a pathway that you want to do instead of what your friends want to do. And then use those resources that the school gives to find out the subjects that you don't really like or not good at, so then in the future you can follow those subjects that you are good at and you do like. So Tate Street offers engineering, cinematography, teaching, hospitality, business and finance, allied health and pre-nursing, law enforcement, and programming or web development. And then the last one is IB, International Baccalaureate. And that's basically just like some hard classes that they give you, so you can actually set yourself up than other students. So for those who are planning on going into college, what are ways you guys plan on paying for college?
Taking out a loan.
taking out a loan?
I don't know.
Okay. Mnajua? So, nataka kumaliza high school.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
get a part-time job.
Part-time job, okay.
Scholarship.
Scholarships, okay. Okay, so there are ways you can get into high school for free. And they are usually, and they usually go by scholarships or grants. This is usually money that is given to you once you complete their tests or you win one of their awards. So, or just being who you are, African, first generation, there are scholarships for you. Next slide, thank you. So here's 3 that I found. So the first one is a $10,000 no essay scholarship. So this scholarship, you don't need to write an essay, you just apply. And then if they pick you, you get the 10,000.
What's the website?
The website I got all these scholarships is on scholarship360.com. So you don't even have to, you don't need to explain why you deserve the money, you just apply. The second one is also another no essay. It's a $25 scholarship. And then you see how they have due dates? So this one, the deadline is by September 30th, 2024. This one for 10,000 is June 30th, 2025. And then this $40,000 one, you do need to write an essay. Oh no, it says no essay too. And it's only, but this one is for high school seniors only. But you are able to just sign up, and then if you get picked, you get picked, and you get 40,000, and you go to school for free. So a way to not be in debt is finding scholarships that will pay for you to go to school instead of you paying to go to school. What are some degrees you guys want to do in college? Razia, what do you want to do in college? Engineering? Okay. What about you? Okay. Wayne? Programming? Web development?
Media arts.
Okay. Anto? Law enforcement?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay. So when I asked, he didn't really know what degree he could pursue, but that's why you are in college. You are in high school. High school is a great time to see what you want to do in the future. So you can join clubs that you have interest in. You can do sports you feel comfortable doing. You can pick a pathway you think you might like, and if you don't like, you change it. You can go to career fairs and ask questions, volunteer into programs, and you can do all this to find what you're good at and what you don't, and what you're not good at. So then in the future, you already know, I'm not good at this, so I'll aim for this. And just remember, you can change anytime you want. It is after high school. So if being a researcher doesn't work out, you can try to become an economist. If that doesn't work out either, you can go for something else. After high school, you're an adult, and anything is for grabs. But this only works but this is only efficient only if you know a certain path that you're going into. Like what he said, he wanted to become a programmer, but there's different type of programmers. There's web development, there's coding, there's so many types of programming out there. But since he already knows what he wants to pursue, he's already in a good headspace instead of not knowing what you want to do. So for all who know that they want to do in college, you should go to college because you already know what to do and you don't want to waste time. And for those who want to go to big colleges, like state colleges like UK, the best thing for you to get into those colleges is to have a high GPA and high ACT scores. They do give out free ACT tests at high school. I know they do that at Dunbar, so for each sophomore and junior. And if you know, and if you have taken the ACT and found out that like your grades aren't really that high, and or your test scores aren't really high, what you can do is go talk to your counselors and see what they can help you with. I know there might be groups or clubs that help you to prepare for the ACT, and what if there isn't any, then you can just talk to your teachers and they can actually set you up and make a group to help people get a high score in the ACT. But if you are planning into getting into any of the Ivy League schools, then the best thing to do is just to get a really high ACT score. So a 34 out of 36, really high GPA, and then you can get into any college you want to. But you just need to know you have to study a lot to do really good on that test. The benefit for state colleges or major universities is to help differentiate yourself from other people. So a person who went to Harvard will get picked up 9 out of 10 times than a person who went to a regular state college. So for all those who are pursuing business degrees, it is better to go to big colleges, STEM degrees too. But if you're going into health, art majors, education, then it doesn't really matter as much. But if you think networking is going to be a priority for your job, then going to a major college is going to be the way. If you want a high-paying job, it is better to go to It is better to go to a major college, but just know that these jobs come with a lot of stress. And if you don't want to have a lot of stress, then it doesn't really matter which college you go to. So those going into healthcare, like doctors, nurses, physicians, it doesn't matter as much which university you go to because of the medical college admissions test, the MCAT. So people pursuing in that field usually have to submit transcripts, their scores, letters of recommendations, and then those medical schools will then start considering they'll start considering the applicant's personality, leadership, and see if they're the right fit for their school. So registered nurses usually take one of these 3 career paths. They usually get a degree in nursing, get an associate's degree in nursing, or get a diploma from an approved nursing program. So registered nurses must be licensed. So while I was looking through all this, it shows that going into nursing is a very tedious field because you have to be very ambitious and disciplined. I know not everyone is interested into going into college after you graduate, but if you're not interested into going into college, look into trade schools or vocational schools. What do you guys know about vocational schools? Okay. Merci. Ajay? Anto? Manga? You don't know anything about trade schools?
Trade? It's like a lower college.
Okay. So trade or vocational schools are schools that teach you a trade. They teach you how to become a carpenter. Next slide. A welder, a mason, an electrician, mechanic, and more. They usually are less cost than regular college, and they last you usually 2 years to 3 years. Um, trade schools, trade schools are good for those who know that they want to work with their hands after graduating high school and want to go into the workforce. So some of you already know that that when you are older, some of you like Monga already know what you're going to be doing. But like finding the most efficient and cost efficient, the most cheapest way to get there is very important. A good trade school in Kentucky is BCTC. They teach you to be a carpenter, to be a welder, to be an electrician, to be a mechanic. And I advise you guys to actually be an electrician because everything around us depends on electricity. So anywhere you go, you will find work, and that there will be people paying you to wire and actually have electricity. So if you think that becoming an electrician or going into a trade school isn't really going to make a lot of money, just know that outside the United States, there are major jobs out there, major trade schools that will teach you a trade, and you will be making like 6 figures. But if you just want to become a carpenter, you can do that too. And yeah, you can be a carpenter, or you can just start your business because you got so good at your job and you start your own business. That's also another way to make more money. But what if you don't want to do that either? You don't want to go to college. What if you're trying to going into sports? Next slide, please. You aspire to be the next soccer player, to be Mbappe of soccer, the next Tom Brady of football, the next Michael Jordan of basketball, or the next Clayton Stoner of hockey. If you want to become an Olympic athlete of any sport, the best thing to do is to practice. I'll get there. So you have to practice and also try not to get injured, because one injury can actually ruin your whole life. And this also goes with singers as well. Just know that like when you start out, you won't be making money. But just know that you'll only be making money when you're at the top. So that's why this is really hard to get into, because in the beginning, you were not making any money, but only when you become the best at the best is when people pay you. But a basic career path for people going into this, becoming the next athlete in whatever sport, is usually you play for your school, then you get a contract for college, and you play for your college, and after that, you go to a major team. If not, then I guess you didn't make it. So because of that, I think it should be good to, yes, you want to do this, but also have a plan B job. So if you get an injury and everything is ruined, at least you have this plan B that will help you not ruin your life, give you money, and so then you can work out something else that you want to do in the future. So in general, getting into college is not easy, but we live in an age of information. So just research more information on what your goals are and how to achieve them, and you'll find schools that will help you achieve those goals. Now there are some jobs I found that are not really common that some people might want to do, but all these jobs make more than I think $25 an hour, and this is just the average salary. But if you like people and want to get people together, you can become event planner or fundraiser. If you like paperwork and looking through a lot of information daily, then you can become a clerk. If you like traveling, going to different places, then you can become a flight attendant. If you like flowers, you can become a floral designer. Those are people who actually make the flower look beautiful and design flowers. But if you're not afraid of dead people, then become a embalmer, because 8,000 people die every day. So if you're not afraid of dead people, then you will always have work, because it's 8,000 bodies somewhere. So if you want to fight fires, you can become a fire inspector or a firefighter. If you think you can fix anything, then you can become a millwright. If you think you have a strong body, you can become an extraction worker and take coal and then push it into these refineries. But if you love steam machinery, you can become a boiler maker. Those are the guys in trains. They usually work on trains. Or if you like fabrics and metal, you can become a tool and die maker. And if you like making chairs, you can become an upholsterer. We are nearing the end, but let's go off on a little tangent. Next slide, please. Let's talk about credit. Something you learn after graduating high school is that after major purchases, or before major purchases, like getting an apartment, getting a car, companies will want to run a credit score on you. They will run your credit. But most of what I've learned after graduating high school is that I didn't have any credit. So once I wanted to do that, I couldn't do it. So the basic thing about credit is to start early. You can start right now and apply for a credit card. Ask your teachers for help, because I know like there's different type of credit cards, and it's a very weird area because there are thieves in this field. So ask before you actually go and apply for these credit cards. But the major thing about credit cards is just to show that you are responsible for money. So when you do buy something with credit, you're basically borrowing the bank's money to pay for that thing. And then in return, the bank wants you to give money back to them once a certain period of time has passed. So the thing that you guys have to do with credit is always remember to just show that you want, just use credit just to show that you want to build your credit score, and not to use credit when you're like in really desperate situations. Only use it once you have the money to pay for that thing that you want to buy. But you just instead want to show the bank that you can handle money, so you instead just pay with the credit. Now back on topic. So what is God doing in all of this? And what should we take out of this? As Christians, we are taught that as Christians, we should be asking ourselves, what is God doing in all of this? Because we are taught that God has a plan for our lives. So how do we know that our goals go in line with the purpose that God has for our lives? What we need to know is that our God is a God who loves us and wants the best for us. He wants us to grow into people He can use for His kingdom. So applying into these universities, colleges, trade schools is a thing He wants us to do, because He wants us to be a light wherever we are, so we can bring people to Him. If you go into like an Ivy League, the best of the best college, but are instead changed into a worldly person, then you going there will not help God at all in His purpose. So, even in this economy where we live in, where prices are rising, but we're still making the same, we need to remember that God is in control, and that only through Him is where we can find peace and fulfillment in our lives. Even if the outside is on fire, we know that if we follow His ways, He will have a seat for us in heaven. So a major thing to remember when you leave this door is that life after high school is not what you guys expect. It will be stressful sometimes, but just know that God is with you. After learning all this information, what do you guys think that guy did in the beginning? Did he choose to follow the crowd and go into college, or did he research and found a path that will help that will go with his passions and help pay for school for where he's going? Thank you for listening. If you have questions, I'll stay back. I won't really be here a lot, so if you have questions, ask my dad in the back. And if he's too busy, then you can ask one of my two brothers. But if you really want to talk to me, like straightforward, you can write an email, and that's my email right there. Because I know a lot of people don't use email, so I know you're serious when you actually send me an email with your question.
That's the correct email?
Yeah, that's my email. Yeah, so if you have questions, stay back. Thank you.